I get a lot of junk mail. A lot of it is trying to sell me a new car. I have an older car, and at some point I'm going to get a new car. So I look at the junk mail occasionally, and one of the things that comes in is an offer to lease a car. Now, I know leasing is actually quite popular around here. I know a lot of people that have leased their cars, and many of them swear that it's really the way to go. They claim it can be less expensive than owning. I've never leased a car, and I'm always interested in saving money, so if leasing is less expensive than owning, I would certainly consider it. This little ad here came today, has a bunch of documentation on it asking for people to purchase a car and some terms. Now, what caught my eye here was this $179 a month for this car here, and also this free financing. So I set up my Chromebook to do some numbers to see if it really makes sense to lease instead of own. Here we go. All right, on the left here is the 24-month lease terms that they're advertising. And you say this Chevy Cruze costs $21,020 is MSRP, and you can get that for $179 a month times 23 payments. And there's this disposition fee. You really have to read the fine print to see it, but there's that. So over 24 months, it's really going to cost you $4,512. And oh, by the way, you can only drive it up to 20,000 miles. Anything over that's going to cost a quarter mile. Did a little calculation, and I figured, well, what does it cost to drive 20,000 miles at a quarter mile? Well, that's $5,000. So actually, they give you a little bit of a break. If you happen to drive 20,000 miles exactly, you might save $488 on that break. So it's not a huge amount of money, but it's some. Now, if you drive half of that, obviously your cost per mile is going to be quite a bit more than you might expect. Purchase. Okay, these are the numbers for a 60-month purchase term at 0% APR. It's not really an offer that they give us on this car, but I just did the numbers here just in case. At the way I figure, it's going to cost $350.41 a month. And oh, by the way, when you buy a car around here, you have to pay sales tax on it. So the amount of sales tax you pay is really on the difference of what you trade in versus what you buy. So worst case, you don't trade anything in, and it's going to cost you $1,681 in sales tax here if you pay full retail. Most people probably won't be paying full retail for that car, but anyways, so $22,706 is what you might cost, what that car might cost you over those 60 months, or if you just pay it for it all up front. All right. So since this is 24 months and that's 60 months, let's normalize it a little bit. Let's say, well, what happens if I just get another lease at the same rate at later and do that for 60 months? Well, according to my calculation, it's still cheaper to lease for that term because the expense to lease is going to be $11,426 versus the $22,000. I'm sorry, the expense to lease is only going to be $11,280, which is $11,426 less than the purchase price of that car. And what's the car going to be worth 60 months from now? Is it going to be worth more than that $1,100 difference or not? I'm thinking it should be worth more than that, but you never know. All right, so really I own my cars for a long period of time, roughly 10 years, say. Now, if I extrapolate these numbers out to 10 years, what happens is really interesting. It becomes essentially a wash. Still figure it's probably $146 more expensive to lease to own than to lease, but let's call it a wash. It's almost the same amount of money here. And, oh, by the way, that's at 100,000 miles and not going over. In my way of driving, I end up going a little over 100,000 miles in 10 years. So it would actually cost me more than that. All right. So let's get silly here and extrapolate out to 20 years. Well, it turns out that leasing would cost you more than $20,000 more than just purchasing the car up front. Now, with that $20,000, you can buy an awful lot of repairs and so forth over the last 18 years of your ownership of that car. Is it going to be more than or how much are repairs really going to cost? Is it going to cost $22,413? It's really tough to say. I don't think that repairs are really going to cost that much, but your guess is as good as mine on that. So here's what I think. If you intend to get a new car, leases are good for a fixed-term owner who drives the allowed miles. So if you can make it work for yourself, go for it. However, I don't intend to purchase the car and hold it for exactly 2 years. So I intend to hold it for maybe longer than 2 years, most likely. And I'd actually like to keep the car for as long as possible. In that case, hopefully I'll save big money by purchasing the car instead of leasing it. So here's some numbers from the Department of Transportation. Average age of automobiles and trucks in operation in the United States. In 2014, the average age of a passenger car was 11.4 years. So most people do end up keeping their cars until they're quite old. Thank you.